Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my podcast. I have a very special guest today. I have Brandon Khoo of COEN. Hi Brandon.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever in the world you are. Think
Hi, good
globally.
morning. So how are you this morning, Brandon?
I stayed up late last night and I had to do some work and some studio stuff. So I got back at 4 in the morning. I slept at 5.
Oh.
And I woke up at 9 and I got ready for this. So cheers, coffee.
Yeah. So, Brandon, how is the situation of this COVID and stuff in Singapore? What's happening?
It's like we are playing cha-cha. One step forward, one step back. One step forward, one step back. You know,
Right.
Things are opening up, and things seem to be heading towards a second phase again, second wave. So, well, it is what it is. You know,
Right.
we just had the election, the government election, not too long ago. They opened up this whole economy, phase 2, and then election, and right now second wave is coming back. So it is what it is.
Yeah, because I saw that when the circuit breaker was like when you concluded that, I saw everybody was going to the bars and stuff, right?
Yeah, and I'm staying home. I'm staying home and waiting for everything to really settle down, and the whole vaccine. I don't know when that's going to open up, but yeah.
Right.
But whatever the case, I'm happy in my studio. I'm happy at home with my coffee and doing stuff. So all's good, brother.
Yeah. So did this lockdown period give you a lot of time to work on new stuff, new music?
A lot of time to work on new stuff, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of alone time and thinking about stuff. And I know I worked on a few projects in the States, and which I cannot say what it is about yet, but that's been happening. And I think with every unfortunate event, to me, this is what I feel. With every unfortunate event, there will always be something good that comes out of it. So in this case, yeah, I think it gives people more time to work with each other remotely using technology. And since we have all these things that are accessible to us, why not use it to work, really without borders, no passports, no whatever, like we just log on like you and I,
Right.
I don't think this would have happened if COVID didn't happen. So I don't think Channa 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 would have been born without without COVID. So thank you, COVID.
Yes. Actually, this started because I always go to concerts and stuff. So
Yeah,
when COVID happened, everything stopped. So that's how the podcasting actually started because of that. I also
exactly.
noticed, Brandon, that after COVID, I feel that people are actually getting connected. Like I see these Zoom meetings with the classmates and batchmates and all these things
Yeah,
are happening, right? Which didn't happen before.
yep, exactly. So I think, like I said, with every unfortunate event, there'll be something good that comes out of it. So I think it's more of perspective. If you look at things, regardless of wherever the world you are, you can be the biggest star in the world right now, but everything is set at ground zero.
Right.
You are there, and you go, what can you do? I've seen people doing stuff like multi-million-dollar companies and even musicians touring and living the high life. And right now, what's happening? Everybody has to be forced to go back down to the basics, the fundamentals, and work on themselves. And in a way, I feel it's a good thing, self-reflection, and everybody else has to, look at things and see what they can do from here.
Yeah. I also
Yeah.
see that you already started your drum lessons again, right?
Yeah, I mean, gigs that has been planned until I think August, then canceled and canceled and canceled. So I said, okay, I took a step back. Okay, what can I do right now? Okay, so teaching is something that's always been for me close to my heart as well, because it's imparting whatever I've known for the past few decades or so to the next generation of musician drummers. So I thought, okay, so and naturally, like I said, with this whole COVID thing, you don't even have to leave your house. You wake up, you grab a coffee, you sit down on your laptop, you open up, you send a link, password, whatnot. I sit down on my drum pad, and you sit down at your drum pad and you begin, and
Right.
and I think it's been good because you have this thing called whiteboard function on Zoom, and through whiteboard function, I've realized that I'm horrible at drawing.
Yeah.
So but it's good. It's good. Teaching has been great, and really it has been helping me learn a lot as well. So and I've got a lot of students coming to me from all ages, and it's been great. The kids as well has been so fun to work with them, from all over the world.
Yeah, I saw this video you posted that your youngest student is like 4 years old.
Yeah, it's 4 years old student, and he's so cute. The thing about teaching and what I've realized is people tend to expect the child to be able to play drums after 6 months and really quickly, but they don't understand that everything has a process. You have to go through a process, and it really depends. But it depends on the age and how the kid progresses and stuff. But it is also all about enriching the child to be surrounded by music, putting them in an environment, to grow as a musician or a drummer or whatnot. And you, from there on, you will definitely see improvements and progress from there. And parents tend to ask me, how fast can my child play drums? And I go like, well, how fast, how much do they practice?
Right.
But it's also all about, like I say, enjoying the process. You have to enjoy the process of it, watching your student grow, and that's very important.
So when you see this like little kid playing drums, does it bring back your like memories of you playing drums when you were younger?
I mean, I started when I was 11.
Right.
11 years young, and these kids, they are coming to me at 4 years old, 5 years old, 7, 9 years old, and it's crazy. And some of them can do stuff on the drums in which I ask myself, well, if I had started that young, where would I be now? Yeah, but and it really, and yeah, some things bring back memories, like when I explain certain stuff to them and they give me this look. And I say, okay, I've got to, you got to find some way. And I remember actually not understanding a certain topic when learning drums, and the teacher, I didn't really express to the teacher that I didn't really know. I just wanted to hit the drums. And being at that age where you just wanted to play drums, you're like, music theory, I don't want to learn music theory, you just play the drums. And then I learned the drums through listening, because a lot of times I could I could pick up what's happening through the sound. Okay, I register this is the snare, this is the toms, and this is the bass drum, floor tom, cymbals, and what's happening, what's the rhythm that's happening. And I pick up the rhythm and I just play them. And the teacher would say, okay, so this is what's happening here, this is what's happening here. I'm gonna, yeah, okay, I just want to play. And I remember, not many people know this, but I remember during the first drum examination that I took, the teacher brought out the exam sheet. He put the exam sheet on a music stand, and I just stared at the sheet, and I didn't play because I didn't know what was happening. Right. That was my very first. That was when I was 11 years young. And after that, I totally freaked out at taking exams for drums because of the fear of being judged. The fear of being judged of what I love to do. You know, I love to play drums. I can play drums, but I can't read drums. I can't read drum notations back then.
Right.
And it wasn't until I think the 2012 that I told myself, okay, I am going to take the exam, because it was I think 2004 or 5 that I started doing a session work with musicians and artists around the region and the world. And I had to force myself to sit down, go to the internet, and learn all these things. And when I started learning them, I asked myself, what was it that I didn't understand about this? Because it was in 2005 so easy to pick it up. And I realized that I was doing stuff backwards now. Like, I listened to the song and there's this certain thing that was happening. And I said, okay, how does this look like on paper?
Right.
So I reversed and said, okay, so this is what it looks like on paper. And after that, I started registering. Okay, so this is what it looks like on paper. This is this. And from then on, I go like, wow, it's actually not that difficult. And 2012 or 2010, I can't remember what year, I took my drum examination. And of course I passed. And the examiner, who was from England, looked at me and go, why now? Why take exam now? And I told him the story of the fear of taking exam back when I was 11. And he goes, okay, he understands, right? So I think the whole idea, I think the moral of the story here is sometimes you don't really have to go through the normal road in doing what you do. Mm. Sometimes you can do it another way. There's not only one way to look at things. And I always believe if you look at my other videos, I always believe, yeah, this is the road to get from point A to point B. But there's also this route. There's also this route that you can take. So you choose, and never fear taking another route to get there, because you'll never know what happens along the way. Mainly people will take this route, but I want to see what's happening here. You know, come what may. You know, it's
right. So Brandon, we've actually met last year when you came to the Philippines with the RockWeller tour, right?
Yeah.
But I actually knew about you probably 2-3 years ago.
Right.
I went to the Roxy, Roxy CD shop in
yes
in Peninsula. So I went to Roxy and then looking for CDs and stuff. So he recommended your album because that's the around the time you released it. They had the poster up
Right.
at the counter, and they recommended, because I was like looking for Dream Theater and stuff. So the guy said, why don't you look at this band? This is a Singaporean band.
Right.
And then I look at the album. I see Jordan Rudess also on the track list. So I said, okay, I will try this. And then I started. Once after I check out your Facebook, the band's Facebook, and then I heard the name Brandon Khoo.
Right.
And I think around this time you also came out with your signature drumsticks.
Yeah.
So on my next trip to Singapore, I was actually going to the drum store there, and I was looking for your sticks. I didn't know that. So once when RockWeller said that you will be the drummer for their tour, I was so kind of excited to meet you.
Right. Well, I remember very clearly. It was, I think, 2018, no, maybe 2017, that I received a message from Facebook. And I saw this guy, Channa.
Oh, yes.
You
I
remember
forgot about that. Yeah.
Yes, you messaged me in 2017, and you asked about the band, whether we want to play Philippines. And I remember we were, I think, just beginning the Japan tour of the band.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, I would love to go to Philippines. That was when we first met. And then when when was it that I met you in Philippines? 2019.
2019.
What
I think
month?
July.
Yeah. Right. It was July 2019. And then they mentioned that, hey, Channa wants the band to go to Philippines, and I was sessioning with the band.
Right.
And the story is when they asked me to play, when they asked me to join the band, and I was like, I don't know if I have time to commit, so I will session and play with the band when there is music. Then I always believe if there's music to be served, I'll serve the music. So I told myself, okay, let's do this. Let's do Philippines, and we'll see what happens. And I had a great time. You were a great host, you know, and I really enjoyed what Philippines had to offer. Right. It was a very memorable experience. And then I came back, and I couldn't commit to the band for long. There was also a different musical approach and direction. Right. And the way we look at things were very different. And I thought, okay, I mean, I think it's best if they go and look for someone that has their standards, you know, in terms of approach and direction in music. And you know, I always like to come and be in an environment where I can serve the music. And if it's not happening, it's okay, you know. It is what it is, and we'll move on from there. And they have found a permanent drummer and a permanent, I think, another guitarist. So it's good for them, you know. At least they found members that can be at home in their environment, you know. Because it's always about, I guess, in a band, it's about being together and finding a home. You know, when you are with people that you can connect with and stuff. It's you know, and you're making music, so there are emotional connections to that. And I think it's important that you find people that really sit well with your train of thought, your ideas and your approach in things. Just with everything else. Just as COEN as well. You know.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. So, Brandon, can you tell me a little bit about your childhood, Brandon, and then like what is your
It
like
was
earliest memories of like music?
it was horrible. A lot of abuse. Lots of abuse. Lot- no, I mean it was a very. I would say I really thank my parents for putting me. I feel blessed to be in an environment where I'm around entertainment. My late father was a vaudevillian, or not many people know the term vaudevillian, but it is a term used for someone who does hosting, magic, ventriloquism,
Right.
singing, dancing, performing, everything into one show. So he's a one-man show. So he does that. He goes backstage. He changes. He comes out. He does. So this is what my late father does, and he was the pioneer in creating that scene, that entertainment scene in Singapore, and it was back in 1976 where my late mother, who was a beautiful singer from Hong Kong, she was touring in Singapore, and she toured in this place called Neptune Theatre Restaurant, which is a restaurant that has topless dancing girls from Russia, and back in the day, you can imagine,
Right.
in the 70s, like topless dancing girls. Okay, I'm there. So, and they always had this bandstand that would come up, and singers would come and sing their songs, and my dad would be the masters of ceremony. He would do magic and stuff, and he met my late mother. So both of them were entertainers. So I grew up in a family where it was always surrounded by music, and back in the day there was always this box that was on the wall that you couldn't turn off the music. It was always either at a very low volume or a high volume.
Right.
And that was how it was back in Singapore. It reminds me of some other country, but okay, that was how it was back in Singapore. And you turn the volume down, and there was always music. And I remember my late mother's favorite singer was always the late Karen Carpenter.
Right.
So there was always the Carpenters happening on the radio, and my mealtime would always be, okay, what's on TV? And I would always somehow gravitate towards the sound of music, you know? And I would sit down and watch the sound of music. And I think those years were very important for me because I unknowingly learned music because they had a deer, a female deer, you know, all those songs. Right. And that was when I realized, oh, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Oh, those were the notes. Okay. So I learned how to pitch and the scales without really realizing that I was learning music. You know, I would watch some of music and I'll be eating my meals, you know, and thinking back and looking back, I'm really grateful of that experience. And on the way to school or to following my late parents to work, there will always be the radio on. There was always Chicago. There was Air Supply and all these bands, and it was really those years that really built the foundation for me growing up. And then my dad would always bring me to his shows where I would watch him host the shows and how he talks to people, and I would always sit there and look at my father going, God, that is amazing, because talking to people, especially to hundreds of people in a room and making all of them laugh, you know, really is something. And then my late father would get called, and he was one of the first guys to actually do a show in Vegas. I say the first Singaporean to really do a show in Las Vegas, the Mirage, the Bellagio, and all these places. And I remember going to Vegas with my late father and watching him do the shows in Vegas. And I'm sitting there going like, this is my late father talking to people in America, in Vegas, and making them laugh the same way he does in Singapore. And I go, that is amazing.
Right.
And you know, and then hearing my mom sing on his shows, and they were a team. My late father and my late mother, they were a team, and they would always go do shows together. And my late mother was I would say the businesswoman, and she would be there doing the business and going through the finance. And my late father was the artist; he was the entertainer.
Right.
So he was always the guy planning the shows and stuff, and planning the content for the shows. And my late mother would be there going to finance, and they were a team. They were a very strong team together. And after that, I and being around the shows, I was like, okay, what next, you know? And I remember my brother asking me, I have a twin brother, and my twin brother asked me, do you want to learn drums? And I was like, okay, let's learn drums. So we started learning drums at the age of 11 years old. And the moment I sat down on the drums and I started hitting those drums, I thought, I love the sound of that snare, that crack. I love the sound of the kick drum. I love the sound of the toms, and the cymbals, and the huge frequency of the huge difference in frequency on one instrument. You have the cymbals and you have the bass drum. So that's that huge frequency. And then from then on, I was like, okay, I fell in love with the instrument, and the rest, as they say, is history. You know, you look at all of this, and you really cannot take that back. It's ingrained in you, and those were really my childhood years condensed into however long I took to explain that. And yeah.
Yeah. So your father was a ventriloquist also, right?
Yes.
Do you remember like with the doll? I think he was called Charlie, right? Charlie.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I remember Charlie, and I remember one show my late father did on TV. It was a Children's Day program, and they gathered maybe like 50 pairs of twins seated down on a bench, and Charlie would be dead center, you know, and Charlie would be singing Wooden Heart, you know, by Elvis.
Right.
And then my brother and I would be seated next to Charlie, and the kids around would be like wanting to touch Charlie, and I would be smacking their head, don't touch him, don't touch him. And it was on live on television. It was hilarious. I don't know where that footage is right now, and in fact, I'm looking for all these footages, because I think if I can get those footages, it'd be hilarious, and I can compile them and stuff. But I don't know. I don't think I can find those footages anymore. It's all here. That's all, because it was back in the day. Nowadays, you have handphones where you could record those moments in HD, high definition. So I look back at all my old photos and my old videos. I go like, man, I wish these were in high definition, 4K, so that I could actually look at them as if it is today, But unfortunately, we don't have that luxury of those memory capturing devices back in the day. So yeah, I remember also watching my father prepare Charlie backstage and stuff like that, and if you would bring Charlie out, he would comb the hair and he would adjust the hands, and it is like, bringing out this thing from the suitcase, and slowly you would see it's like an imaginary a thing where he would hold Charlie and life would come out of it the moment he brings it on stage. And the moment he brings it off stage, it's like, okay, back to sleep. That process, again, like I said, it's the process of that. I always enjoy looking at process of how things work, and through that, you learn a lot of things, and that's just a couple of fond memories of Charlie, just to name a few. That process, bringing him out of the suitcase, combing the hair, adjusting the hands and legs, and him coming to life. He's doing a show, making hundreds of people laugh, and then bringing him back down stage, and then he will go to sleep again.
Right.
Beautiful memories.
Yeah, it's kind of a lost art now, right? Very few people do that now, right?
Very lost art. In fact, this ventriloquist Charlie was born before my late father got into business. So my grandfather did ventriloquism as well. So when my late grandfather wrote his will, he gave my father Charlie.
Wow.
That was it. He was like, okay, this is Charlie. And he chose, I have 11 uncles and aunties. So back in the day, I think my grandmother and grandfather were in massive lockdown, and they had nothing to do at home. So they had 11 children, which includes all my uncles and aunties. And my grandfather inherited. My grandfather gave Charlie to my father, and he said, "This is what I'm giving you. You will make a career out of this."
Wow.
And true enough, my father made Charlie into a business, and they would always call my father the Wizards of Showbiz. And that was his tagline: Victor Khoo Productions, the Wizards of Showbiz, and he would use his name to really go far in his career around the world, travel to Japan, America, South Africa, Denmark to do shows, and that was Charlie,
Yeah. So Brandon, growing up, like once you start playing drums and stuff, but what were the music you were listening to? Specifically, like what were your favorites back then?
Why? Okay, my very first, I would say, music that I got into in my years of I mean, aside from the Carpenters or Chicago or Air Supply, I remember the first cassette tape that I bought. It was, drumroll, Belinda Carlisle.
Okay. Yeah.
It was that album, Runaway Horses, and I remember listening to that song, and there was Leave the Light On For Me, there was Summer Rain, and there was all these songs. Like, oh, okay. It was nice, and I really liked it. I'm not ashamed to say it, because there's a lot of music that I like now, aside from, I mean, I am through and through a metalhead, just like you, I love my metal to death, right? You know, but I also love other genres of music.
Right.
I love, and I was just thinking yesterday, one of the songs that really gets to me is Christopher Cross, Sailing. I don't know, have you heard that song?
Yeah.
I really love that song. It's like when you have Christopher Cross, Sailing playing anywhere, and I hear the song, I imagine myself on a yacht, looking at a sunset, you know, having my coffee, my tea, or whatever out in the sea, and I go like, wow, this is so nice. And I remember the first music that I got into was songs like that. You know, the Carlisle. It was oh my God, so many. Christopher Cross. It was all these artists coming up, and really, Bobby Brown. Janet Jackson, Whitney Houston, all the 80s stuff that was happening, and I really love those stuff. And Bobby Brown, when you mention the name Bobby Brown, it really brings me back to Ghostbusters, the movie. You know, you get all these soundtracks that's happening, Beverly Hills Cops, you know, and all that. Huey Louie and the News, you know, and all right. These bands that and aside from metal, those really were the first music that I got into before I picked up the drums, you know? And then I think after picking up the drums, I entered this whole new world of music. And I remember the first band that really blew me away, really got me wow, was Motley Crue. And that was about the same time as when I got into drums and I saw Tommy Lee playing the drums, and he was doing his stick twirls and whatnot.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. I really want to do that as a living. And I didn't know how I was going to make money out of it, but I just wanted to do it. I didn't care if I made money out of it. I just wanted to do it. I just wanted to play drums for the rest of my life because it looked like so much fun. And then, you know, my late father was working in this entertainment working in entertainment, and he had all his workers working for him, and they would come up to me and sneak up CDs or cassette tapes to me and say, Brandon, listen to this. And I saw this album, and it was, oh my God, this looked so evil. It was this mountain. I'm going to describe the album cover. I don't know whether you can know who this band is. It's this like a mountain and a lake, and there's this priest there, all chained up, and there's this demon like looking over. You know what band it is? What album cover it is?
Is it Dio?
Dio, Holy Diver.
Yeah.
It's that album. I was like, oh my God, what is this? You know, and you know, I'm a born Catholic, so growing up, and my aunties, my relatives, and my uncles and aunties would always say, when are you gonna go to church? When are you gonna go to church? And for me, when I got the album, I was like, I'm gonna sneak it. I'm gonna go back and listen to it, and I remember the opening track, and you had this sound that was happening, and then this low growl, and then Holy Diver kicks in. I was like, oh, okay, this is kick-ass. Holy Diver, you know, and it's after that, after Holy Diver, after Motley Crue, Dio, then the floodgates opened up. Metallica first started out the hair metal glam bands. Right, like you have Metallica, you have Skid Row, you have Poison, you know, you have all those popular bands, and then you have other bands in that genre that are not so popular that I got into as well, like Danger, who were not as popular as Motley Crue and all, but I still love them. Yeah, so many bands. Huge shout out to what's that band's name? Steel Panther.
Right.
Steel Panther, who's still flying the 80s glam metal flag high. And then from the glam metal days, and then it opened up the doors to this genre called thrash metal. Slayer kicked in.
Right.
Raining Blood, Angel of Death. And then after that, I was like, oh, what is this? Anthrax, you have Testament. You have all these bands and this other sound that came through. And then from there, I remember sitting down at the shopping center, and then I hear this music coming from the record store. And I walked in, and some people might remember this. It's called Supreme Records at a departmental store called Takashimaya. It was at basement. It was the basement floor of Takashimaya. And I walked in, and there was this sound, this music, and it started with this guitar and this awesome sounding drums. And Pull Me Under was playing. And I was like, I immediately went to the cashier. What is this? And she said, well, it's Dream Theater. And I go like, give me one CD. I got the CD. I went back. I played the CD. And I was like, oh my God. From top, Pull Me Under, Another Day, Take the Time, all the way through to Learning to Live, all the way down, top to bottom. It was like it was like that album was like the key for me. It says, okay, Brandon, you've graduated from thrash metal. Now let's move on to progressive metal.
Progressive.
Right?
Right.
And I didn't know what was happening back then. All I knew it was this awesome sounding drums, a flurry of notes that sounds so melodic that it's heavy, technical, and melodic at the same time. Right. So I know there was this a music professor that did a research on that album, Images and Words, and there was this balance. There was this graph that was like, okay, here is the technical side of music, and here is the melodic side. Right? So there's this wide spectrum that he drew to explain what Images and Words was. And Images was sitting right at the center of heaviness, technicality, and melody. So to me, it fused the melodic aspect of the 80s and the heaviness of the thrash metal, and it blended them together into this nice fusion of a band called Dream Theater with their release Images and Words. You know, so that is the perfect balanced album. I've never really heard of anybody who has heard the album and gone, no, it's too loud. No, it's too heavy. Most of them will go like, wow, it's actually quite nice. You know, this heavy music that people hear, it's quite nice. You know, they listen to it and go like, I don't understand it, but it is nice. You know, and from there, I remember going to a party, meeting a friend who said, oh, you are a drummer, a friend's friend. And I said, you're a drummer? I said, yeah, I play drums. I don't have a band, but I play drums. I love the drums. And she went, my boyfriend has a band and they're looking for a drummer. And I say, so what do they play? Oh, they are looking for a drummer that plays Dream Theater. Wow. I say, oh, okay. I know Dream Theater. Do I know what was going on? Like in between? Because I was still learning drums, pretty much beginner. Right. Not beginner, but I had played drums for a few years, and I was definitely not at a level where I could understand what was happening theoretically in the music. So I was like, okay, they play Dream Theater. play the drums. So let's see let's see what happens from here. And I remember meeting them at Boat Key, and we sat down and there was a lot of things that happened on that table. But I don't know whether we have time to say it now. I think maybe we do. But back then they were still with, they were still with their previous drummer,
right?
And she invited me over, and my impression, my mind was going like, okay, so this is the band that needed the drummer. I'm here. So being me, I sat down and I just said, okay, so this is the band that I'm playing with, right? I'm looking to join. And everybody at the table just went, because their previous or their back then current drummer was still at the table.
Right.
So I was like, and then that drummer stood up and walked off.
Wow.
And then I sat there going like, oh, what was happening? I don't know what's happening. Because I didn't get the memo that the drummer was there. His name is Johnny Ong from the band called Odd Fellas. Right. So I still talk to him now and then, and I haven't spoken to him in a while, but we always speak of that story, and it was hilarious. You know, I mean, so if he's listening to this podcast, a huge shout out to Johnny Ong. And sorry, I didn't know what was happening, but that was what happened on that day. Yeah, but we're still friends. We still talk. It's funny how things, like I say, the process of things, and you always need to have. I would say you need to clock in the hours of whatever you need to do. So I joined the band and we formed. It wasn't called Affiliate back then. I can't remember what they called their band before I joined. But after I joined, it was this new lineup of Affiliate. So we picked a few Dream Theater songs and they went, okay, let's play this. And I was like sweating. I was like, okay, let's give it like a few weeks. Okay, so I went back, I learned the song, and I didn't know what's happening theoretically. I sat down and I kept listening to the song, and I kept just playing to the music. And again, my mind was like, I don't know what's happening theoretically. So I was learning everything based on melody. You know, I would sing the song in my head, and melodically I was like, oh, okay, this was what's happening. This was what's happening. So we were going to the studio, and I was so nervous that we would start the song at this tempo, and we would end the song at a much more a faster tempo than what we originally started at. So and because I didn't know music theory back then, I was like, did we speed up? No, I didn't think we sped up, but okay, you know. And those were the years. Those were the years of growing up and how this happened. And yeah, that's I think a long history.
So from that band, how did your band started?
Well,
how do you say that? COEN, right? COEN.
Well, it was back in, I think, 2017, where I needed to do a few drum clinics in Japan, and I needed music. So I contacted one of my guitarists back from Affiliate, and I said, I need to maybe rehash certain songs for a drum clinic. And he said, okay, so let's do this. When we went to the studio, we re-recorded, I think, a couple of tunes from that album, from the first release, Affiliate Within the Woods. Next time I see you, I will give you that album as well. It was, and in that album, there were 2 songs, Remnants of Yesterday and Reflections, that was redone. That was on the COEN's album. So when on that album, we rehashed those 2 songs, and we thought, hey, why not? Let's just do something with this. Let's try to find a lineup to do something, start a project or whatever, you know. And it was I think a band that started out with a pure intention of this project. And then from there, I contacted another friend of mine who I've known for a while, since the 90s, and I said, and he plays bass, and I said, okay, so would you want to play on this project? And he said, yeah, so let's do this. And from there, we found a singer, and the lineup just happened from there. You know, the original lineup just happened from there. And you know, it's one of those things where you don't expect things to go the way it did, and everything rolled so fast. Within a year, I think it was pretty much 4 days in a week that we convened at the studio, and we just started writing and writing and writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. That's why that album was born. And that album was born with the intention of images and words in mind.
Right, this one.
So yeah, that one, that album. So it was born with images and words in mind, in a way that it has to have a nice fusion of technicality and melody, because to me it's no point being technical without melody. So I'm huge on having a melody that's palatable for the masses, because I love, like I say, 80s music. In fact, I love some stuff that's out in the music today, like when I hear stuff from like Katy Perry or Taylor Swift, or so many. The Midnight. Have you heard of the band The Midnight?
No,
Go and check them out. They are a pop synth band from California, from Los Angeles, California, and I think it's Los Angeles. Yeah, but they're a pop synth band from California, and their stuff is so current but so 80s.
Right.
You will love them. The Midnight. It's just that. So, what was the question again? Oh yeah, how did it line up for? I drifted. Sorry. So, anyways, from there, everything rolled by so fast, and I remember sitting down and going like, "How did this happen?" And I go like, "God, that is very fast." We got the Japan tour happening. We spent a lot of time on this, to the point that I must say, to the point that I think some of the guys felt drained. You know, felt because I was a full-time. I was doing full-time music, like playing gigs and teaching and stuff. So I really dive deep into this,
right?
And one of the guys was in IT. The other guy also was doing music, but he was more in the military also. And one of the other guys, he wasn't doing anything. He didn't really have a job. So I was the only one that was a full-time musician. And I dived deep into this project, and everything rolled by very fast. I did this, I did that, and I think it burnt out some of the guys. And it was one of those things where you start to realize that if the balance is not there, in terms of even mindset. If and because, like I said, we started this with the intention of a project in mind, and the process for me was there. But I think to some of the guys, they were like, okay, wait, I think we need we need to slow down, And I'm the kind of guy that if I start something, it has to go, keep moving and keep moving and keep moving. And understandably, the guys didn't really have that same mindset, because they had life to take care of. They had bills to pay, and they had to put food on the table for their families and stuff. And I said, okay, fine, let's move on from here. And like I said, it's like finding a home. So the singer first moved on with life, and we got another singer in, and she also didn't have the same mindset. So it was that, and I think the band is still there. It's just finding the right people. So right now I'm in talks with a few guys, and I'm looking for a new lineup, because again, like I said, it is always finding a home for that band, and you get the perfect people coming in to form that unit. And when that happens, when everything clicks, that's where things will start to move. It's always about that. I mean, that's life. You find things. It's like you start dating girls, and you find the right person. You marry the person. You have children. So it's like that. You marry the person. You find you start dating. You find members. You marry the person. You start recording, and you have children, and you have an album. Right? So it's that process. So it's about finding. I'm band dating now. So I'm dating. I'll call it band dating now. So it's that. I think no band really. If you look at bands through the years, like bands like Slayer, bands like Metallica, bands like Megadeth, and especially Megadeth, they go through different bands. Even Dream Theater. I mean, I had the book, the autobiography of Dream Theater. I read it many times. I've seen their lineup change. The singers that they went through. Right. They went through so many singers. Chris Collins, Charlie Domenici, and then James Debris, and with Kevin Moore, and now Jordan Rudess, Mike Portnoy, and Mangini, and it is that. You go to any band's Wikipedia page. Yeah. They will always have past members, current members. And is that, and I'm always amazed. I always like to go to the Wikipedia page and go like, okay, who were their previous members? And I look at it and go, oh, and you look at that and you go like, okay, and it's, it's amazing what you find. From there you link, oh, I didn't know this guy played for this band. Right. I didn't know this guy played for this band. Oh, he actually was the original drummer, and now he's there. Like, and I did a cover of Richard Marx Angelia. Yes. Right? And let me look at it. Richard Marx Angelia, and they are the drummer for that song. I wish I had this out. And the drummer for that song actually was this guy that's called Personnel. That's it. Prairie Prince. Praierie. Right. Prince. And this guy was the original drummer for Journey.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't know that. And he was one of the guys that started Journey. And then, and just sidetrack a bit. I love music history because from there you learn a lot also. And he was and he started a journey with Emil Chau. I think back in, well, they didn't say a year here, but before that, I think he was a member of the Tubes, who was around the same time as Journey. Right. And then I think the Tubes was more popular then, and Journey was like just beginning to come up. Right. I think Mr. Prince was like, I think I'll stay with the Tubes. So he stayed with the Tubes, and Journey went on, and they found Steve Smith, and they rose to fame. And Mr. Prince, I think he stuck with the band, the Tubes, which didn't become as popular as Journey. Yeah, and so from there, like from Richard Marx, you get Prairie Prince, and then you get Journey, and then you do the linkage. You go, oh, okay. So it's interesting.
You know those TV shows, like they show they link all the crime scene evidence, you know, like
yeah,
and like swings and stuff. They should do something like that for the musicians, right?
yeah. And then I think back to COEN. Yeah.
Brandon, I want to ask you about, so one thing that when I got this album, you said that it's kind of inspired by images and words, right?
Right.
So actually it felt, so you had like a handful of songs, but it felt very complete, and it felt like when I listened on the first time, I listened to all the songs from start to end. Mm-hmm. Which felt like images and words kind of, right? Like.
Thank you. I mean, really, props to the rest of the guys who contributed a lot to the album on that album. I mean, the rest of the guys, they really put in 110% during that process. Again, the process, 110%. And I think if it weren't for the effort of the guys to put in that amount of time to the album, it would not have come up the way it did. I mean, the songs from start to end. I mean, you really cannot. I think it's also that perfect. How would you say that perfect combination at that time? It's like, when you're dating, you find this girl, and you go out, and everything is nice, and you make a lot of memories together.
Because you also had the balance between the heavy and then fusion, prog, and going because what I really like with the lot of these new progressive bands, what I see is that they tend to be more like just heavy.
Yeah.
They tend to fall on the, sometimes it's even hard to
digest.
Feel that they're actually a progressive band because they tend to be more heavy.
Right.
So, but here I feel that balance, that it's and you had this song with Jordan Rudess also, with the keyboards, right? So can you tell me how that happened, that collaboration happened?
Okay, first of all, that song Remnants of Yesterday, it's written in 1999,
right?
Which was the same year that we discovered Jordan Rudess with Liquid Tension Experiment.
Yes.
If you remember.
Yes.
And I think that whole song, it's everything sort of fits very nicely in a sense that song is about, as it is, remnants of yesterday. And I think you would know this movie called The Highlander.
Yes.
Okay. So The Highlander is about a guy who, for those who don't know,
MacLeod, right? MacLeod.
Yeah, Duncan MacLeod. that album, actually, sidetrack just slightly, Remnants of Yesterday. It's called COEN's Remnants of Yesterday because it is about remembering the past. And a lot of the songs in that album, there's going to be a lot of nuggets of information that's going to come out now. A lot of songs in the album are inspired by movies.
Right.
Island in the Sky was inspired by Elysium. Do you remember that movie? Matt Damon and Jodie Foster?
Not really, but I will check it out. Yeah.
Elysium. Elysium. Matt Damon and Jodie Foster. Island in the Sky was inspired by that movie. That's why it's called Island in the Sky. Now, Remnants of Yesterday is inspired by The Highlander. It's talking about Duncan MacLeod who just cannot die. That guy was like, oh, I'm in this earth for centuries, you know, and all my friends, all my loved ones, my lovers, my whatever, they're just dying before my eyes. And hence the chorus, you see. And if you listen to the melody, the song initially, it is the bagpipes, which is the Scottish bagpipes.
Yeah.
Which that's the linkage to the Highlander.
Okay. Right.
And it's inspired by the Highlander in the sense that this guy walks around on this earth and he's reminiscing about his past. He's seeing his loved one passed away before him, and what's the meaning of life anymore where he cannot die? Because when you're immortal, you just cannot die. And when you're immortal, what is the meaning of life when you cannot cherish what you can have at that time? And if you're immortal, you just take everything for granted because you can't die. So yeah, so and that song, okay, Remnants of Yesterday, we rehashed the song as I said earlier, and 1999 was the year that we found Jordan Rudess, and also was the year that we wrote that song. And we moving forward. No, sorry, 1998. 1998. And moving forward, I met Jordan Rudess in 2012 in Long Island, New York, at Guitar Center. And I remember it was his keyboard clinic there. And I was walking past Guitar Center and in Long Island, New York, and I was Jordan Rudess. I just walked in, and he was there performing, and that was when I had the chance to, introduce myself, and I'm a drummer from Singapore and stuff, and we kept in touch. And moving forward, 2018, when we were thinking, and I was thinking, it'll be nice to have Jordan Rudess on this because it's Remnants of Yesterday.
Right.
Number one, thinking about how I knew of Jordan Rudess in 1998, which is 20 years ago. And I thought, wow, it'd be nice to have him on it because it's Remnants of Yesterday, and it was also the year we discovered Jordan Rudess. So I contacted Jordan and I said, I have this song that I would love to have you on it because it's just one of those songs that has a strong meaning in my heart. And Jordan was so nice. He said, just send me the song and I'll record my parts on it. And I was like, wow, that was quick. So I sent him the song, and within a matter of a couple of hours, he sent his parts back. And I remember sitting down listening to the song and tears are like coming down from my eye, going like, oh my God, that was so beautiful. You know, and really, if there's anything that really means a lot to me now is that song on that album, because that song really is the highlight of my, at least the last few years of my life, where I never imagined in my wildest dreams that Mr. Jordan Rudess would be playing on a song like Remnants of Yesterday.
Mm.
You know, and it is something that I guess I keep looking back, and whenever I hear the song, okay, get ready, Jordan Rudess is coming on. Like, okay. You know? And yeah, and it was so surreal, you know, looking at it, and never I keep thinking about it, and it's really, there are no words that I can describe, you know, and really thank you, Jordan, for really making it a really memorable highlight of one of my memorable highlights of my career. Mm. And we you know, every time Dream Theater comes to town or around the region, I would try to make it out. I'll contact Jordan, and we'll catch up and stuff. So really, yeah. So that's and then yeah. So the Mood and the Dancer, I'd like to highlight now. The Mood and the Dancer. The song
I wanted to actually ask you, because that's my favorite track from that album. The
okay.
Mood and the Dancer. What's the inspiration for that?
If you actually watch the music video for that song, it's on YouTube, COEN, The Mood and the Dancer. Maybe you can put a link down in the description. I wanted to hold a contest on this, but you know what? This is a podcast. Just let it all out, right? That song, if you look at that music video, it is about Final Fantasy X. Okay, and in that song you see Yuna, one of the main characters in Final Fantasy, in that song, in that music video as well, in the form of a plush toy that the baby was carrying, and the guitarist was using. He was wearing a pendant that has a reference to Final Fantasy X. So if anybody actually picked this up, they were like, okay. So and the inspiration behind the music video is about that. So Final Fantasy X is about a recurring monster that keeps coming back and back again and again. Mm. And we thought, wait a minute, to do the music video, I didn't really want to make it an obvious reference to Final Fantasy X. I just wanted to try to have some meaning in the music video. So I thought of the concept. Okay, why not do this? Why not make it about something to spread awareness? So that music video is about spreading awareness about domestic abuse. Mm. Because domestic abuse happens from a day-to-day basis. It happens when everything seems fine, and then the monster keeps coming back. The abusive husband or the abusive wife. Let's look at it in both spectrums. Abusive husband or abusive wife. And it keeps coming back again and again and again. And just when things start to escalate, and then it goes back to normal, and it keeps coming back again. So that's why you see the music video, the recurring abuse that's happening on a daily basis, and it gets worse from day to day. And that concept was actually, the music video concept was actually thought of with by the music director Stephen Chu. A huge shout out to Stephen Chu. Stephen Chu, who actually is also a concert photographer. So if he goes to gigs that you go to as well.
Okay, maybe we have seen him.
Yeah. So if you definitely would have seen him around. He whenever he's at gigs, you are there. He's there also. He's always there taking photos. And if you ever, if anybody is listening, go to stevenchew.net. STEVENCHEW.net. He will hate me for saying this. He will always hate that. He'll say, hey, stop it. But no, go to stevenchew.net. Go and check out his photos. There is a photo, all the band photos from COEN were taken by him. Right. All my personal drum photos are also taken by him. My Vater drumstick photos are also taken by him. And then if you head to stevenchew.net, go check out the recent concert with Judas Priest. He has one photo of Rob Halford and the guitarist standing together, and the guitarist is doing this, and Rob Halford was also doing this, and they were like in this. It was a beautiful picture. Go to stevenchew.net, go and check out that picture. I think huge shout out to all the concert photographers who capture that moment, because it is these moments that you cannot replicate. I mean, you go to concerts, well, you know that all these concert photographers, they go out, they capture that moment, they print it, and you look at the photo and go, yeah, I was there. Wow, what a beautiful moment. Yeah. You know, and every time I look at that photo, I think that was that moment I remember that Stephen Chew took. You know, so that music video was directed by Stephen Chew. The little baby, the little girl in that photo, that video actually was also Stephen Chew's daughter.
Right.
You know, so yeah. So that's what Moon and Dancer is about. It's about Final Fantasy X, and it's about highlighting domestic abuse.
Right. So Brandon, you had this fun, like a fun song called. I want to ask you about this Sailor Twift.
Sailor Twift. Yes. Sailor Twift is, oh my God. Again, the process and how everything links. This is going to be a very long story. We have time, right? Sailor Twift was written by a good buddy of mine from LA, Raz Azrai.
Right.
How do I link this? Oh my God. I met him in 2000 and I try to get a timeline correct. I believe 2008, when he was in Singapore, when he was just a teenager. And he was in Singapore, and I was with backstage with Lamb of God, and I was walking backstage, and there was this kid there, long hair. It was Braz, and he was like, "Hey, dude!" I was like, "Yeah, can I go backstage?" And I go like, I doubt it, dude. I'm sorry, you can't go backstage." And that was 2008. I'm sorry if I got the timeline wrong, but it's about that time, 2008 and 2000 and that was when I first met him. 2010, I met him again at a Lamb of God concert. Asked me the same question. Sorry, dude. You know, I can't. And after that, I thought this kid is resilient. I said, okay, fine. And when I went to KL for a band tour in, I think, 2012, it was so long ago. I'm trying to get the timeline correct. And I met up with him because I know he was in KL. And we sat down and he said, I'm going to LA. I said, good, go there and make waves, right? Make waves. He went to Los Angeles. I'm going to fast forward this quite a bit because it's a really long story. Fast forward, and then he went to Los Angeles, and He's right now still in Los Angeles. And when I went to meet him again, and he said, dude, I have this song that I need some drums on it. And he sent me the song. And I was like, okay, what can I do here? So we sent the song back and forth, back and forth. I sent draft back and forth, back and forth. And we just recorded the song. And what should we call it? Sailor Twift. Why? Sailor Twift. Because I think at that time, Taylor Swift was in his head. Right. And what should we call it? Sailor Twift. And I'm like, dude, that's a brilliant name, Sailor Twift. Not Taylor Swift, but Sailor Twift. And that song has been around since 2000, maybe 2016, 2017. And he basically didn't want to release it. He was finding the right time to release it. And when I think he announced that he was going to release it, then I recorded my drum playthrough. I put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I know people have been asking me. I go to NAMM. I've been to NAMM since 2012 every year after that, and everybody is going like, dude, when is Sailor Twift going to be released? I go like, because I played it on Drum Mule, and I said I don't know. And I keep sending videos to Raz. I say, Raz, 2000 Sailor Twift, when are you going to release it? You know, and he goes like, oh, I don't know. It's not the right time. And every year the same story. People come up to me and ask me, dude, when? You know, I said, I don't know. Dude, when? I said, I don't know. Until one day I got fed up. I said, Raz, you really got to release it now. So Raz finally decided it was the right time to release it. And yeah, it is now on Spotify, Sailor Twift. And talking about Raz is, to me, one of those guitarists where you can throw him any song and he can come out with the most melodic creation that you can imagine. And again, I'm a big fan of melodies that's palatable for people, you know. And I get it. Some people like songs with intervals that you know, skip notes there from there to there. I get it. I like songs to have a very natural and very nice melody, and it's subjective to people. But and to me, like I said, and 80s, a lover of 80s music. You know the melody that happens. You go like, wow, that melody is so beautiful. And again, to me, a melody has to be palatable for the masses. So moving forward, when Island in the Sky was created, I thought the solo needs something. The first person I thought of was Raz Azrai.
Yeah.
And in 2017, when I was in Los Angeles, I went to Raz, handed him and emailed him the demo. When I was at his house, I was thinking, dude, can you try to play a solo on this album, on this song? And he put in the track. He played the track on his laptop. He switched on his amplifier and his guitar, and he started listening to the chord progression, and he just started playing.
Wow.
And the solo you hear on that song, Island in the Sky, was the first draft.
Wow.
Of what he played. I mean, in terms of composition, in terms of composition. When he played that, he just listened to the melody and his fingers just went, you know, he listened to the progression and his fingers just went. His fingers just, the music just came out, you know, and it was very, I wish I had that. I wish I have that video. I'm going to try to dig for that video. The process just came out. It's like words, beautiful words coming out of the mouth, flowing out, you know, into the audience, and they're listening to it going, wow, the words you used, the phrasing, the tone was perfect.
Mm.
And I captured it on video, came back to Singapore, and I said, okay, Ras, I'm going to send you the recorded track without the solo. Play your solo. And he went, what did I do? And I said, you don't remember? I said, I don't remember. I said, okay, hold on. I took out that video clip. I sent it to him. You know, so it's always one good tip that I can advise musicians. Whenever you're creating something or just playing with your instrument, playing with your instrument, right? Record your process. Record the process down, because you'll never know. You will come up with something so beautiful at that moment that you may never or will never recreate again the next second.
Yeah.
You will forget it like that, because it's like, what did I do? I don't remember. Oh my God. I should have recorded it down. So
right.
I remember having my handphone out, recording Raz coming out with the solo, and having that thing in mind of always recording. And after that happened, I put the phone down. I go like, dude, that was beautiful. And we just left it at that. And I say, I'll get the song recorded. When it's done, I'll send it to you. Please record the solo. And he said, okay, good. So again, after that, sending the song to him, and I go like, dude, what did I play? And he went to me, what did I play? I get, you don't remember? Say, no, wait, hold on. Took up my phone, went through my videos, and go like, okay, here's a solo. And he recorded
That's
his solo.
so amazing.
Beautiful. Yeah, you know. So so Sailor Twiff. Oh, sorry, I drifted again. Sailor Twiff was one of those songs that just came out. Again, you know, I never expected the song to Sailor Twiff to be so popular amongst the cult following of Raz Azrai. Yeah.
So Brandon, you also I know that you played with a lot of other metal artists and bands, and can you tell me a little bit about the artists you played with or performed with?
One guy that I had the honor of playing with is Kiko Loureiro.
Right.
That is 2000, maybe 2005.
So he was in Angra back then, right?
He was in. Was he in Angra? I think He maybe he just came. I'm not sure whether he was in Angra or this is definitely before he joined Megadeth. It was Kiko Loureiro, and it was for his performance in Singapore for a guitar clinic, for Davis Guitar Clinic. And huge shout out to Davis for that opportunity as well. He came to Singapore, and I remember the rehearsals. It was one of those moments where, because I listened to that album Angels Cry from Angra,
right?
And I remember listening to Carry On and all that, and when I was asked to play with Kiko Loureiro, I was like, really? Is that possible? Really? Okay. And he came and came to Singapore, and we went through rehearsals after rehearsals after rehearsals. And it was one of those moments where you just, again, you don't expect things to happen like that. But it just happens. And you just have to enjoy the process, because it's one of those times where, and he had his album out, No Gravity. I remember the song Escaping. I remember learning that song, and I was like, how come I never heard of this this album before? You know, it's one of my favorite guitar instrumental albums. And I still do play it now and then on Spotify and stuff. And I remember the process of that rehearsal leading up to the show. And I can remember playing on stage, and Kiko is playing, and I'm looking like, wow, this is really happening. And after the gig ended, I asked myself, did this just really happen? you can't, you cannot. I always have to remind myself that all these things happen, all these things do happen, and you just have to keep doing what you do.
Right.
Because you'll never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Just enjoy the process and always get yourself prepared. Like every day, get yourself prepared for. So every day I do. Although now gigs have all ceased, I still do practice like crazy. And because you'll never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You're going to have this gig, you're going to have that gig, and I always try to keep myself updated with what's happening in the music. And I know some musicians are some old school musicians. I'm never going to listen to new stuff or new metal and stuff. I'm going to open Spotify and see what's happening.
Yeah, actually, because especially with metalheads, they have this purist type of attitude, right? They only listen to. But the problem is that some of these new bands, even we call them new bands, but they've been playing for like 10 years, 15 years. They're still considered new bands, right? It's not
exactly.
A new band.
Exactly. I believe in trying to grow as much as possible. So when you grow and start to listen to new music, you start to realize, wow, like yesterday, I know this band has been around for a while. I just really haven't gotten down to listening to them. My brother, he sat down and I was at his place, and he was like, have you heard of this band called I Prevail? I said, yeah, I heard of them. Have you heard any of their songs? I go like, no. And he popped in, he played on YouTube this song. And I was like, wow, that song really kicked ass. I got to give a shout out to this song. I'm sure it's going to pop up. I Prevail. Which was it? I think it was Bow Down, was it? Yeah, Bow Down.
Right.
Bow Down, yeah. That song kicks ass, man. That song is like and to me, if you listen to that song again, I Prevail, Bow Down. I liked and I analyzed the song immediately. You put on a musician's cap whenever you're listening to a song, you start to analyze. The chorus of, have you heard the song I Prevail, Bow Down?
No, I haven't. But I know the band, but as you said, I haven't really listened to the song. So.
Right. the verse kicks you in the ass like that. And you go like, wow. So that's one aspect of the song.
Right.
Moving forward to the chorus is so melodic. The chorus, they're like a cross between Kill Switch Engage and Crossfade.
Okay.
So that song reminds me of that. And the breakdown. So the chorus has this melody that you can predict what's happening. So that melody goes nicely, and it nicely progresses the chorus and then goes back to the verse. And then it goes into a breakdown and it goes into a chorus and it goes into a sort of like a second chorus and the song ends. And I remember sitting there going like, wow. You know, it's not, that song is not like super technical, but it has a nice balance of heaviness and melody. And this is what I mean. This to me makes a great song to me.
Right.
You know? So it's about opening up your mind to new bands. Like, you know, I know Stone Sour hasn't been has been around for a long time. And it's one of the bands that I think people call new bands. And you talk about bands that have been around for a while that people call new bands. And Stone Sour for me has been one of those bands that when I listen to, I go, oh, this is so good.
Because I actually enjoy this. They're not really metal, but like, you know, the bands like Mayday Parade, the Main, those like pop rock kind of rock bands. But they've been like, they're really, really good, because whenever they have a show here in Manila, I actually go, and most of the time I feel that I'm the oldest guy there.
I know you love metal, and sometimes I see your Facebook and your Instagram, and I see you attending, like, what was this band? Football, was it?
Oh, American football, yes.
Yeah, American football. When you introduced American football, I was like, are you watching American football as in American football? And I was like, oh, that's so weird. Yeah, but they're a good band. They're a good band, and it's because of your Instagram posts, your social media posts. I checked out the band. It's a pretty good band. Again,
you know, there's another band called Chinese football, and then when American football played in China, Chinese football actually opened for them.
That's hilarious. But was it? I think it was planned, right?
Yeah, it was planned, but they're kind of like in the same like math rock. Because they play kind of like math rock, so both bands play the same style.
Right.
So that's probably why they got.
That's so awesome. I mean, so much good bands that are happening now. I suppose. You know, it's like, yes, back in the day, in the 60s and 70s, 80s, you have bands coming out. Every band that came out, pretty much maybe alternate 1, 2, 3 bands that came out was like, this band is awesome. This band is awesome. Then, you know, this band is awesome. You get, I mean, okay, first of all, you like, for example, the Beatles, and then you get, you know, the Led Zeppelin, you get Grand Funk Railroad, you get, oh my God, so many bands that came out during the era, that all of them that came out was like, oh, this band is good, this band is good. Kiss, you have all these bands that came out. And speaking of Kiss, a shout out to Benny Obana.
Yes, Benny.
So speaking, and then now you may not have so many bands that come out like that in that order. Like, okay, this band is good, this band is good. Maybe you have one band that's great, then a few bands that are, you know, not so palatable to me.
Right.
And then you have, oh, okay, this band is good, and then you have other bands that are not so palatable. I would not say not. I wouldn't go as far to say they're not good, but they're not palatable to me.
One more thing, Brandon, that what I enjoy going to these different genres of concerts and stuff is different genres of, like, even concerts, they have their own sort of a culture. How you behave in a metal concert is different how you behave in a like pop rock concerts or punk. So I really appreciate that lifestyle, kind of like, you know, decorum. There's a certain decorum of each of the events will be how you behave. And if you go to a prog rock clinic, you behave in a different way. And, you know, so it's I'm really trying to, like, absorbing that. I'm trying to, see what is the behind all these different way out. Like, it's like if you go to a hardcore show, you behave in a certain, sort of a violent way.
So for me, whenever I go to a metal concert, I'm always at the soundboard.
Right.
You know why? Because it's always the best sound.
Yes.
Have you been? I'm sure you've been to Japan for concerts, right?
No, I haven't been to Japan yet. No.
Japan, I don't know. It's a whole new world. Have you seen? I remember going to Ozfest, and I went to Ozfest not for Ozzy. I mean that guy. I mean, I love that guy as well. I went to Ozfest for baby freaking metal.
Baby metal, yeah.
and it was my very first Japan concert.
So Ozzy was just bonus, right?
Sorry?
Ozzy was just bonus, like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. and I have to say, you go to metal concerts all around the world, and you go to Wacken, you go to Hammersonic, and you go to these festivals, and the crowds are crazy as hell. And in Japan, the crowds are this.
Right. Yeah.
And I love how the crowd behaves in Japan. And for once in my life, 2012 was the first time I moshed. It was the first time I was in the middle of the wall of death.
Right.
Because okay, I remember it was Hatebreed that was playing. They had festival 2 stages.
Right.
And I wasn't on that side. I made sure, where is Baby Metal playing? On this side. I'm staying here. Okay, I'm staying here. And on this side, you see a whole army of Baby Metal fans. They are just waiting.
Yes.
And you see the Hatebreed fans are there going, yeah, you do your thing. We'll just watch Hatebreed from here. We're just going to reserve this spot. And Hatebreed finished, and you can see Baby Metal getting ready. And as they're getting ready, I heard commotion behind me, like people like making noises. And before I know it, I turn around. And before I could really turn around, there's this whole army of Hatebreed fans. They went from there to here, and they just whoosh, pushed their way forward. And there was, and if you know Baby Metal fans, they're the age group of maybe as young as 10, 11 years old to as old as maybe 60 years old.
Yeah.
And there was this elderly couple that was standing to my right, the husband and wife, and they got pushed over, and they fell, and they fell hard. And the moment that happened, I swear, it was this button that went off. Everybody stop. And wait, stop.
Right.
They went, okay, they helped the elderly couple up. Are you okay? Are you okay? Everybody just stop. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm okay. You okay? And everybody, and the elderly couple said, oh, daijoubu. No problem. The moment everything was clear, you okay? Daijoubu. The button went on again and whoosh. I was like, what just happened? The whole barrage came, elderly couple fell, the whole army stopped. Are you okay? Are you okay? Good. Whoop, went forward. It's amazing. They help each other up. And after that happened, okay, Baby Metal came on. I was just standing there. And I was maybe right at the center, maybe off slightly to the right. I was just standing there going like that. I told myself, nah, I'm just going to stand here and enjoy the show. The show happened. And the moment the first song came on, I went from this side. I didn't need to move. I didn't need to move my legs. I just went.
Yeah.
Because everybody just went. And I swear, I got lifted off the ground. And I just went, what's happening? I'm moving. I'm moving from here to here without even me moving at all. I moved from this side of the stage to that side of the stage. I'm just enjoying the teleporting from one side of the stage to another side. And before I know it, I was right at front of the stage. I'm going, how did I get from there to here? You know? And so, you know what? That started my first Virgin experience of the Wall of Death. Then Su Metal went back. And the Wall of Death opened up.
Wow.
Right? The Road to Resistance, that song. Right? And when that happened, I was like, that's it. I'm in the Wall of Death. Yeah. Let's do this, you know? And for once in my life, I was like, that's the Wall of Death. And amazingly enough, when that was happening, so, some guy came up to me. He was doing the Wall of Death and he was like doing that. And he stopped and he bent over, took out a wallet and looked at me. Is this yours? And I went, no. And he went around asking people, is this yours? And went, is this yours? And the one guy went, oh yes, it's mine. Thank you. Put it back. And they continued the Wall of Death. So the metal community, even when they seem to be doing all that moshing and reckless banging of bodies and they are actually very helpful.
Yes.
You know, they actually look out for each other, which is the way it should be. You enjoy yourself, but you look out for each other. That's amazing. So if you ever get a chance, Channa, oh yes, there's one more thing. Between each band, there's a break. So after Baby Metal, I thought, okay, there's a break. So I'm going to go up and have a breather. So I went out and went up. And I saw this whole line of massage chairs.
Yeah, I heard that, yeah.
And then everybody just goes and gets a massage and everybody is doing their warm-ups and stretching and they're doing that. I'm like, what's going on? It is the most organized concert that I've ever been to in my life. And if I have to use the word classy, Japan makes metal classy. So that's why everybody goes to Japan, because it's classy. So everything is very well organized. You know, you go there, you get a ticket, a number, you line up. If you are the 105th or you are the 900th person to buy the ticket, you go in the 900. You know, and that's that. So if you ever get a chance, don't go in summer. Go in spring or autumn if there are gigs happening that period, or winter. It's beautiful because you get to wait outside in the cold.
Right.
And what I'm the 500th guy. It's fine. I'll just wait here. You know, and it's so organized. You go in the merch department, the food, the beverage, the food. It's so well organized. You go like, my God, I love this place. Right. You know, because they make metal music very classy.
Yeah. Brandon, can you also tell me that I know that you also perform with the Chinese artists, right?
Right.
So can you tell me a little bit about that?
It's a different world. It's a whole different world because you get the metal side of things where you go there, you start to okay, this is what I do. I bash those drums and it's all about that energy. You go you know, and in Chinese music, or I say in this genre, you get the musicians take a back seat. You know, and sometimes they are even in the pits when you perform on stage. And you just sit there, you look at the music chart, you just play those songs and you you know. And I remember going to my very first recording session for a Chinese artist, and that was my very first recording session. Moving back to the time where I said I had to do a session back in 2004, 2005, and I was given like maybe 7 or 8 songs to play on that album, and I didn't really knew what I was what to expect. I knew I had to be very prepared,
right?
Because I didn't want to waste anybody's time. You know, I went in and I had to just play the songs, and it was so. It was like putting me in another world. You know, another world of music where you go like, okay, you have to play this, you have to play this, and so whatever I was listening to, on the demo, I had to play it out, I had to chart it out, I had to play it out, and there's a lot of how would I put it? There's a lot of discipline that you need to put behind it. Like, okay, this has to be done that way. Why? Because the producer says so, right? And I know it happens a lot in even in the American music industry, but I think even more so back in the day when I was doing it, it was very you have to do it this way. You have to do it this way. You have to do it this way. And the drum fills and everything has to be that way. The notes here has to be placed there, and everything has to be done that way. And I think it was one of those years that I was also learning a lot. You know, you have to leave your ego at the door.
Right.
I come in with my drumsticks, and I go, okay, this is what I do. What I sit down, I had to get everything prepared with the clip, the headphones or the in-ear monitor. Going, okay, when do I start? Now, okay, what song? Take up the sheet, I put it here, play. The producer goes like, oh, I need you to play this fill in here. Okay, I'll do it for you. Even though if maybe I find it, why do I have to play it here?
Right.
You really want this? Maybe to me, even if it sounds, no, I want to play, you know, and whatever, you know, I no, this, that's all you need to play. Okay, so I put in as much effort to making sure those sounds as musical as all these quick fills, because that's what the music requires. So right. Those were my years in learning to serve the music.
Yeah, Brandon, you also told me that you played for Jaycee Chan, which is Jackie Chan's son.
Yeah, that was a trip.
What's his style like? What sort of artist is he?
He's a renegade. I mean, Jaycee. Well, wow! You touched on a topic that I don't know whether I should speak of. I mean, it's one of those. I mean, everybody knows Jackie Chan.
Right.
Everybody knows Jackie Chan. Jaycee got into acting as well, and he got into music as well. He is a extremely talented and a gifted individual. And I haven't been really up to date on what's been happening to him recently, right. With all that's going on in my music career and stuff. But as far as I know, he's always thinking of ways to pursue his artistic career, if I have to use the word artistic career, whether music and movies and stuff. And I know his mother is a well-respected person as well in the industry, and I guess there's a lot of him that also I think you know when you create, you have a son, you you have, he definitely has a mix of both you and your wife. Same with Jaycee. He has a mix of his father and his mom at the same time. You know, so when I knew him, he was still growing up, and I don't know what he's doing now, but I think he has grown up quite a bit in his years, and I really hope to see more of what he's doing in the entertainment industry now in the next few years, I suppose. And I'm sure definitely he will be making more music or more movies in the years to come. So yeah.
Brandon, I want to talk about your YouTube channel. You actually, I mean, you put a lot of content. You have this one video that went like 4 million views. How can you tell a good drummer from a bad drummer? Something like that, right?
Yeah. That video, oh my God, that video has gotten me so much, and I'm grateful for it. So much spotlight in the drumming industry. Like I remember last year, I was at NAMM, and I was sitting there, standing and at a drum booth, and you know, REO Speedwagon.
Yes.
Brian hit the drummer from REO Speedwagon, who I saw recently on Ozark.
Yeah.
You know, he was Ozark.
Yeah. And then you know that in Ozark, that storyline, they actually get the money laundering done through REO Speedwagon, right?
Yes, it was hilarious. And Brian hit. I got a tap on my shoulder, and I turned around. It was Brian hit from REO Speedwagon, and he looked at me, Brandon, I loved your video on how to tell the difference between a good drummer and a bad drummer. I looked at him. I was like, wow, thank you so much. You know, I listened to his songs and his band, and I never realized that you know, that someone who I used to listen to in the 80s would come up to me and say, I love your video and give me a pat or even know my name or my existence. So I'm really grateful for that video. A huge shout out to Brian Hitt. You know, thank you for doing what you do and inspiring me as well in many ways. And that video was taken at a drum clinic in a school in Singapore. And when that video came out, when that question came out, that video footage was taken. And I remember answering the question with trying to get the message across, because I know there were a lot of guys back then that were just doing, wow, amazing stuff on drums, like really gospel chops, like, you know, all those stuff that was happening. I was like, that's really amazing. And I start to also ask, but wait, where are the musicians that are just going? Where is the art of serving the music? Like, I like to hear music, like, you know, like how Lego or how, like, you know, like Tetris is a game, everything sits nicely on top of each other and forms this very nice picture or forms this very nice jigsaw puzzle, you know? And when someone asked me that question in the audience, first person that came to mind was Ringo Starr from the Beatles. Yeah. Because I remember the song In My Life, playing the song and listening to the drum parts of that song. And I go like, that is so unorthodox. The way he played the drum parts to the song was nothing that was usual back then. But he played it with so much musicality that it fits the song like that.
Right.
Boom, ba, boom, sta, tum, ka, tum, sta. You know, that it's just that. But it fits in so nice. And I remember answering the question and playing the song as a reference. You know, and after that I said, okay, so here's what a bad drummer plays. You know, playing the actual Ringo Starr part. And then I say, okay, so here's actually what a good drummer does. And I just started thinking of all the Dream Theater Portnoy licks that I could find, I could think of, and play the song with that in mind. You know? And I'm not saying the Dream Theater licks are not musical. All I'm saying is that when you are playing something simple like that, where it's highlighting the singer and the music,
right,
you got to play something that supports that. And when you're playing progressive metal, that's your time to let go. Right. When you're playing something like I Prevail, you let go, you go for it. Oh, by all means. In fact, if you play Dream Theater music and you play, I will take something and smack you on the head. You know? So that video, oh my God. And then when I got the footage to that drum cleaning, and by the way, when I played the Portnoy lick, everybody, I don't know whether everybody got a message that, hey, look, in my life, the way, maybe I think everybody was clapping because of the Portnoy licks. But I knew some guys got the message.
Yeah.
You know, I knew some guys I understand what exactly you're trying to say. And some guys, if you look at the comment section, it's hilarious. Sometimes I go back, there are about 5,000 over comment. I don't know, maybe 6,000 now. And some of them are going like, I don't think some of the guys in the audience got the message. I think everybody is clapping because of those licks. and some of the comments are like downright brutal, but hilarious. And some of them are like slamming me for things like oh, this guy, you know, this guy, that, and I appreciate every single comment out there, whether be it bad or good, because you know what? It is what it is. Everybody has different opinions. Everybody has different ways of looking at things. Everybody says things from a different mindset. You know?
Yeah, different perspective also, right? Different people have different.
Yeah. It's okay, you know, it's all right, you know, and for whatever it's worth, thank you for commenting, you know, and when I uploaded that video, somehow the right timing and the right place, everything just went, it's just snowball.
Yeah.
You know, and I know right now there are some guys who use a good portion of my speech in that video and put it in their YouTube video. And like, and some of my friends are like, dude, you should sue them for you know, using that video. And I was like, what am I going to do? You know, I mean, if anything, that they're giving me airtime, I suppose. So thank you. I mean, if anybody is watching this, thank you. I mean, how much can that lawsuit bring me? Right. You know, I mean, if anything, I'm sharing the joy of spreading music. So if you want to use my content for that video, by all means. Not my music though, but my content for that, because you know, I mean, if it's spreading the good word of serving the music, then by all means. One good example, the late Mr. Ndugu Chancellor, the guy who played drums on Billie Jean. And if you go back to listen to the song, and I always like to encourage people to, especially listen to songs like that, Mr. Ndugu Chancellor, listen to the bass, listen to the drums, listen to Michael Jackson's phrasing, and listen to how the bass drum and the snare drum sits in the pocket of that song. And you will realize, and then after that, start to put a drum machine to it. You will know the difference. And the bass guitar, how it plays, and everything just dances nicely around each other. It's not clashing. Rhythm. No one is fighting each other in terms of rhythm or melody. Everything sits just nicely. So that's what I mean. So when I asked him, when I had the chance to speak to him at NAMM and talk to him about that song, it was one of those moments as well where I guess I can remember speaking to someone who actually understands the meaning of really serving the music.
Right. So Brandon, if I ask you your top 5 drummers.
Why you do this? My top 5 drummers. Okay, I've got to say my one of my biggest inspiration, obviously, when I got into progressive metal music, Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater. That's one. It also has got to be, okay, I'm really trying to fight. Okay, John Bonham from Led Zeppelin.
Right.
Virgil Donati.
Right.
Because that guy has shown me that a lot of things can be done on drums, and a lot of things are possible in that sense. That's 3 already. I've still got 2 more. Tommy Lee from Motley Crue. And do I really have to have 5 only?
It's okay.
I suppose it would be Bernard Purdy.
Right.
Bernard Purdy, the Purdy Shuffle, because that guy has shaped bounce. And when you play drums, that guy has shaped the meaning of bounce when you play the drums with a shuffle and stuff like that. So Bernard Purdy, in no order of preference, Bernard Purdy, John Bonham, Mike Portnoy, Virgil Donati, and Tommy Lee. This is my top 5. I have top hundreds, but these are my top 5. I would love to name more, but these are my top 5.
Yeah. But also sadly that, remember Neil Peart passed away, right?
Yes.
It was like last year, right?
Yep. Neil Peart, yeah.
It's another loss. Brandon, can you tell me a little bit quickly about your experience coming to the Philippines and playing in the Philippines?
Quickly? I can't tell you that quickly. It has to be a long story. Well, the Philippines, firstly, I have to say, I have to say, if I do stay in Philippines, I really have to watch my diet because there's so much rice that's happening down there.
Right, so much eating also, right?
So much eating. Thanks to you, a lot of food, and but the experience in Philippines has been really one of the best experiences I had, because first of all, I would say the most important thing for any promoter, gig promoter, big or small, doesn't matter, is how they are being taken care of by the promoters. And in this case, yourself, Channa, you made sure that we are well taken care of. You make sure that our accommodations are great, that we are well fed, that we are hydrated enough. That's the first thing I want to say. So thank you so much for that. And also the way that I guess we are being ushered into the gigs. I know the gig venue is that far apart, like from the hotel to here, as opposed to that. But you got us a van and put us in a very nice aircon place. We had gears to carry, right? But you put us there. But it took us what, an hour to get from here to here. And we were like, why don't we just walk? And I said, it's okay, we'll just stay in the van. It's all right. We're just like, you know, I mean, and in that sense, I appreciate that you still put us in a van to get us from point A to point B, and and after, even before every activity or after every activity, I remember this question: you guys need anything from the convenience store? Say no. You brought us there. You got us everything, and it was, I think, 2 days that we were there.
Yeah.
Was it 2 days? Yeah, 2 days.
Like third day you left, right? Yeah.
Third day, yeah. And you made sure that we were very well taken care of, and there was not a second that I was like, I felt uncomfortable. It was always make sure you're comfortable. And I remember the only thing is the weather. It was hot.
Yeah.
But it was very nice because I like the fact that we could have a very well balanced free time to do what we want to do, regardless. I know it's just 2 days, a very well balanced time of what we want to do. The sound check went great, the gig went great, pre-gig sound check, the gig, post gig, everything was very nicely done. We had space, we had time to do what we want to do. So my if anything, it's more of the comfortable time that we even for the flights forward and backward. There was no rushing. We need to get here now. We need to get here now. Everybody's like rushing. It was like, we need to get there now. Okay, so we just leave about this time. Is everybody ready? You know, and I remember yourself, Joey, and Benny being there. You know, and also at the radio station. You know, we're just sitting there going like, okay, is everybody ready? And it was very nice. The radio interviews and stuff. It was perfect. It was, I think, one of the best tours that I had. Also with, and after that, I know Disaster went on as well. And I remember going back, and I remember telling Denise, you have to go to Philippines. You know, I said, oh yeah, how is Philippines? Philippines was brilliant. And how is the accommodation? Don't ask, just go. Let's go. You know. So thank you for that. That experience was wonderful.
Yeah. So how was the audience when you performed in the Philippines, Brandon?
it was the audience was interactive. They were more than I expected, actually. And I know in the audience, because when I was growing up, we had like helpers that were with us from the Philippines. And I knew I was growing up, and my family, we had helpers who became family, sort of a part of the family themselves, because they were with us for years, maybe 10 years, so they became part of the family as well. And my mom's friends had helpers who also were part of the family, and they started mingling among each other. And huge shout out to Mary Grace, who also went to the gig as well. So it was a very memorable experience. Everybody was responsive, and I remember doing a drum solo And I knew Benny was there. So I thought, I want to play a drum solo with Benny. So I brought up my snare drum and I put it next to Benny, and we had a drum duo. It was, and I remember one thing. And you were sitting next to Benny, and I remember you going like, "Oh my god!" You're sitting there, going, drum solo, and the snare was like there, next to you. And upon reviewing the video, I was like, "Oh my god, Channa was there. I feel so bad. His ears." I was like, I mean, as drummers, you are used to it.
Yeah.
And I can remember maybe from a non-drummer perspective, like drum solo again. Yeah, but the crowd.
But that was one of the highlights of that show, huh? The drum solo.
You know, I mean, that drum solo was. I knew that the band always wanted me to do a drum solo, and for me, I could do away with less drum solos, because I just wanted to play songs, you know, and sometimes when it's needed. I mean, the drum solo aspect for me was I got a bit of training from the years of playing at gigs in Singapore where things just got too much in terms of power. And the lights, electricity shut. Because there was just so much. I don't know whether it's due to the circuit that was being wired and how, because some of these places have old buildings. And sometimes I'll be in the middle of a song. And then when like the verse, chorus, and then come to the bridge, just nice. Blackout. And what do? No guitar, no bass, no vocals, no keyboards. What do? Play a drum solo. You know, and sometimes when these venues, electricity goes out, the air conditioning goes out as well. Wow. So what do? This drum solo. So sometimes it takes a while, like 10 minutes, for them to really find the circuit that's tripping find the section that's tripping the circuit. And I'm looking to the right and I see the guys meddling with the electrical board, and I go like, oh God. And I say, okay. And some of them are running up and down the staircase going like, what's wrong? I know. And you're like, okay, it's going to be a long drum solo. So you know what? I'm just going to take my time. So I'll just start the solo and really, and you have nothing much. You have drums and the audience.
Right.
And these people pay to be at the shows. So what do? You have to go there and make sure that they stay. My goal is to make sure that all of them stay and not leave.
Right.
Because it's going to be 10 minutes of just doing this. And I know there are bars around the area. So if there are bars around the area, you wouldn't want them to go to those bars because, right? So you're there just going like, I need to keep every single person from when the lights go out remaining in this bar till when the lights go on. I want to see every single face, or even more of them. Maybe from the rest of the bar to go like, what's happening there? I'm just going to go up there. So that's my practice, and through 15 years of playing at that bar, Walla Walla, that was my training. And believe me, when the solo gets 10 minutes long, by the end of the solo, I'm drenched from my head to my toe, literally soaking in sweat. But when the light goes on, the air conditioning comes on, the fan comes on, and you see the crowd being from here, this size, which is full, to this size. You go like, fuck yeah. And you start playing, and then you try to segue the drum solo into the song, and you try to remember, where did I stop the song? Where did the song end? And then you look at the rest of the guys, you go like, this is when the drummer takes the lead to go like, solo, 1, 2, 3, you count them back into the solo and you segue nicely back. And that was my year. So when doing the drum solo in Philippines, that was my thought. Like, okay, the band wanted me to do a drum solo, I've got to go in and do that. That's my job. I wanted to do that and serve the music or the band for that time. Go in and make sure that happens.
Right.
So that's the idea behind drum solo.
Right. So Brandon, what are you working on? What can we expect on the next, the rest of the year from you?
Well, as I said, right now I'm band dating. So I'm band dating guys who fit the COEN family, and from there we can see what's happening. I'm still working on the formula of what works out. Definitely, COEN would come up with more stuff in the future. What else? Gigs, I guess, for my corporate gigs. I don't know when that's going to open up now that it looks like the second wave is coming back. Definitely more lessons, more videos online. I've got more videos online that's going to be posted in a few weeks to come. I'm going to do more tutorials on YouTube. I prepared a few contents out that's going to be on YouTube. Just maybe accumulating those stuff so that when the lockdown happens again, I'll just sit at home and just go, okay, I'm just going to post this, I'm just going to post this, I'm just going to post that. And then, yeah, I think for now, that's what's happening. I mean, other than online content and band dating, there's nothing much that can be done now, And yeah, I'm writing a few more stuff as well. That's in the works, and I've done a few session work for guys in the States that's going to be released, I hope, in the next few weeks or few months, so I can share with you guys. But I can't say what's happening now. But that's the exciting stuff that's going to be happening.
Right.
Yeah. So that's in the works. And other than that, I'm just really just living life, being happy. When this is in my hands, it's happiness. It's happiness.
Right. So Brandon, anybody you want to shout out to?
Wow. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting me through the years, with everything that I've done, who've helped me push my career. I know they wouldn't want me to say it, but I'm just going to say it anyways. Thank you. Yeah, and just to irritate the hell out of him, shout out to Stephen Chew. StephenChew.net. Go check out StephenChew.net. Instagram, Stephen Get Even. StephenGetEven. Stephen Get Even. Follow him on Instagram. I mean, shout out to the guys at Beta for supporting me. Shout out to the guys at TRX, Cymbals, Mapex Drums, Simpad, Skygel, and everybody, and Audio Technica, who's been supporting me all the way, even through this lockdown, with the support and everything. Shout out to Don Familaro, shout out to Jordan Rudess, shout out to, oh my God. I think if I continue, I'll just go. Shout out to Joey and Benny. Shout out to, of course, yourself. Who else? Oh my God, so many. Shout out to Glenn Sobel from Alice Cooper, if he's watching. Brian Hitt from REO Speedwagon. You do this, you're making, I don't want to miss anybody out. Shout out to Belinda Carlisle for being the first.
Yeah.
And please do check out The Midnight.
Right.
I have to say this because they have recently been on my playlist like crazy. Other than the heavy stuff that I've been listening to, The Midnight, go check them out. I love the band. They just released their new latest release, I think a few days ago, called The Monsters. But they have, I think, 3 or 4 albums before that. They're all of them kick-ass. Because every time I listen to The Midnight, it brings me back to LA somehow.
Right.
You know? So, yeah.
So, thanks, Brandon, for joining this one. I really enjoyed this conversation. Anyway, I mean, you know, when I last time we met, I think a year ago, you know, you showed me around in Singapore. We had like, you know, the food and stuff. So I really enjoyed that time.
Oh yeah, we had
keep
post.
Yeah, hopefully I can see you again, Singapore or in
sure.
Manila. So all the best with the COEN, and hope you put out new music.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brandon. Thank you.
Thank you, Channa, for having me.
Yeah, take care, Brandon.
Thank you. Bye.
gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Brandon Khoo. I want somebody to play, okay? Keep it going, louder.